To say that The Killing Joke is a controversial comic is an understatement. The story of the Joker going on this big rampage to prove that all it takes is one bad day to turn someone mad has had an incredible amount of influence and has caused a lot of bullshit. From feminist think pieces, arguments over the comic's lasting effect on the industry, to Alan Moore just not really liking it.
Alan Moore doesn't like The Killing Joke, which is great to hear. Neither do I. It's an origin story with no fucking origin in it. Glad to find we can see eye to eye bag on something.
It's a hot button comic to talk about, and that's not even going into the two different versions of the comic, which is a whole other video's worth of discussion. The thing that probably has the most debate over anything else is the ending of the book, the purposefully ambiguous ending. Spoilers for a decades-old book. I'm assuming everyone watching this video has already read it or at least knows the story. In the final pages of the comic, after the Batman and the Joker have a fight and Batman saves Gordon, the two have a conversation. Joker asks why Batman won't just beat him half to death and get it over with, while Batman pleads to the Joker for some other way out of this. He wants to do it by the book and doesn't want to hurt the Joker anymore. Batman thinks this is just a suicide course for the both of them and offers the Joker rehabilitation, but Joker says it's too late and that this reminds him of a joke.
You know, it's funny. This reminds me of a joke. See, there were two guys locked in a lunatic asylum. And one night they decided they didn't like that anymore. They decided to escape. So they made it up to the roof, and there, just across this narrow gap, they see rooftops stretching across town, stretching to freedom. Now, the first guy, he jumps right across, no problem. But his friend, oh, no way. He's afraid of falling. So the first guy, he has an idea. He says, hey, I got this flashlight with me. I'll shine it across the gap between the buildings, and you can walk across the beam and join me. But the second guy says, what do you think I am, crazy? You just turn it off when I'm halfway across.
They laugh, the camera pans down, and the light representing the beam between them turns off. The most common interpretation has been that, at the end of the book, Joker causes Batman to snap and finally murder the Clown Prince of Crime. This is implied through the last page of the book, when the Batman puts his hands on the Joker, implying that he's strangling him while maniacally laughing as the cop car arrives. This interpretation has also been heralded by Bat writer Grant Morrison. Here's Grant Morrison explaining it.
And I kind of like Killing Jokes. We talk about this, no one gets the end. Because Batman kills the Joker.
No. Yes. All right, we didn't talk about this.
Well, we got to talk. Okay, let's have Killing Joke as our second in command here. No, that's what I love about it. It's like no one's noticed, like how many, 30 years on almost. Batman kills the Joker. That's why it's called The Killing Joke. The Joker tells the killing joke at the end. Batman reaches out and breaks his neck, and that's why the laughter stops and then the light goes out, because that was their last chance at crossing that bridge. And Alan Moore wrote the ultimate Batman Joker story. He finished it.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, but he did it in such a way that it's ambiguous, so people will never have to be sure, which means it doesn't have to be the last Batman Joker story. It's brilliant. It's like...
Well, the official canon ending, according to the DC lore, is that they just laughed and Joker escaped or some shit. I'll get back to that later. Now, there's heavy debate over this because it goes against the message of the book for Batman to just snap and kill the Joker. The first conversation in the book is Batman pleading out to the Joker that he wants to avoid one or the other having to kill each other. So it's obviously saying their mortality is at stake. While I do think there are some accurate points in his interpretation, I don't think Morrison's interpretation is completely accurate. But if you read those last pages, it's clear that Batman is not about to snap. He's a sad and disappointed man at the end. He's pleading to the Joker, like at the beginning, not about to kill him. And again, if Batman snapped, it would prove the Joker right, and throughout the book, Joker is proven wrong. His theory that all it takes is one bad day is wrong because people have stronger wills than him. Jim Gordon has a stronger will than him. Barbara Gordon has a stronger will than him. Batman and the Joker both have similar origins. They're both products of trauma. Joker is a man who couldn't get past his trauma and fell into insanity, while Batman used his trauma to become a hero. They are polar opposites, and that's why they'll fight each other forever. There have been other videos that point this out, but there is a pretty clear explanation of what happened at the end of the book, or at least what can be interpreted as what happens at the end of the book. Here's the quote-unquote real ending. Early in the comic, the Joker shakes hands with the guy who's selling him the amusement park, and he kills him with the Joker toxin that's in his little buzzer. This poison buzzer comes back in the final fight in the comic. Batman knocks it out of the Joker's hand. Batman then gets knocked down, and we see him examine something inside of his hand in two panels. He then hits the Joker in a way where we can't properly see the mode of attack. Maybe it's a punch, maybe it's an open hand attack. It's clear in the final pages Batman is not on the edge of breaking or anything. So after the joke is told, he starts laughing, either because of the poison or because of something I'll talk about in a bit. and then they both start laughing, and they go silent, like the guy trying to sell the amusement park. In this interpretation, they both inadvertently kill each other with the buzzer, thus ending their battle. The only way for their forever battle to end is for both of them to die. Through how heavily this is emphasized in the book, I at least used to believe that this was the intended narrative of the book, that both Batman and the Joker kill each other at the end. In this version, Morrison is right. It is Moore writing the last Batman story. At least this is what I believed until somewhat recently. So there's a common misconception that the Killing Joke was never intended to be canon. It was always intended to be canon, and Moore infamously asked permission from Len Wein for Robert Gordon's Crippling. Now, of course, Alan Moore hates DC, so you could see him ignoring the respect of the editors to suddenly kill Batman and the Joker, but what stands as the canon ending is the one where they both live. Now, most people hate this because it removes a lot of the ambiguity of the ending of the Killing Joke, but I do like this ending where they both live because it's the real one. While doing research for this video, I found this quote from a Goodreads interview where Alan Moore says this: "I refuse to do an Alan Moore impression. My intention at the end of the book was to have the two characters simply experiencing a brief moment of lucidity in their ongoing, very weird, and probably fatal relationship with each other, reaching a moment where they both perceive the hell that they are in and can only laugh at their preposterous situation. A similar chuckle is shared by the doomed couple at the end of the remarkable Jim Thompson's original novel, The Getaway." This whole scheme of Jokers was basically the Joker crying out to Batman for help, for some sort of communication to get him to understand the Joker. Joker's point is that all it takes is one bad day to turn someone mad. While Joker is proven wrong in a way, Batman did have that bad day that turned him into the Batman, and ultimately they have at least some common ground. The Joker and Bats come to a meeting point because, well, they both get the joke of the asylum inmates. They understand each other's perspectives for the first time ever, and how absurd their existences are. I mean, it's a guy dressed as a clown fighting a guy dressed as a bat. It's absurd. In that moment after the joke is told, they're able to come to an understanding, and they just laugh together until they stop. I like the idea that in their forever war, they have a moment of humanity shared together before they are forced to fight once more. It's a moment of humanity and is pretty poignant and haunting, that two people in brutality can come to an understanding. That's why I see this panel of Batman putting his hands on the Joker, not as an attack, but I think a perfect representation of why they need each other, and why they have a symbiotic relationship. They both need each other to fight, to exist, or they will die. It's haunting. I like it, but the same poignancy also works in the ending where they both die. It works either way. I love the Killing Joke a lot, and I think it proves the strength of the book that we're still able to have this argument and conversation about its ending so many years afterwards. And personally, I think Alan Moore's intended ending is one of the most haunting endings in any comic I've ever read. And at the end of the day, it's a comic about two men enjoying a joke.
Oh, excuse me.
Ha ha ha!